Hello, good evening, and a warm welcome to you. Welcome back to EXA, aka EXA X1. We are now live for round number 7 here in Qatar. We are past the halfway point, actually, and just 1 week before the break. Now, you might be wondering, where has Bahrain gone? Because until not too long ago, that track was actually on the calendar, but it has been swapped out. As this calendar does follow the PSGL calendar, it means that we're going with that. And therefore, we've now got Qatar instead of Bahrain, because I believe Bahrain still has some track issues, particularly at turn 4. So, therefore, we're here now with another track in the Middle East, a sort of different sort of beast. 1 DRS zone instead of 3. And of course, a lot more corners, a lot more tire wear, I have to say as well, and a lot less overtaking opportunities. But either way, therefore, it being a technical track and it being high on tire wear, I wouldn't be surprised if, once again, we're going to see some differences between tire strategies, just like last week in Hungary, which made it a very fascinating race, to say the least. Even though some of the driving wasn't as fascinating as the tire strategies, we've still got some interesting standings to show you, with Simon Lekomsky still leading the way. However, his first win is still eluding him somehow, after having started on pole position for quite a lot now. 4 pole positions to Lekomsky's name, but 0 wins, 3 second place and 1 third position at the moment. And last time scoring, let's see, 17 points, which means the gap to the men in second place has been closed by 8. And Liam Stevens is definitely on a roll now, having won 3 races, and all 3 of them have been over the past few weeks. So 3 in a row. He's on a grand slam, absolutely, in terms of race wins. And he's once again present tonight. Of course, Simon Lekomsky as well, which means it should be very, very interesting watching the top of the field fight for the title. He's the closest at the moment, but to the race, the championship leader, with Larry Tolkey back in 3rd place, or still in 3rd place, I should say. After scoring 8 points, he's falling behind quite fast now. He's now 42 behind our championship leader. Luca Rapasa has been hit by a hefty post-race penalty of 10 seconds, losing him a whole lot of positions and a whole lot of points. He would have been in 3rd in the championship had he not been slapped at the penalty. Pascal Ranieri has been moved out to P5. He's even further behind, 53 points behind at the moment, with Valentino Labella now having lost a place. But he's back this week around in the Aston Martin. Gianluca Nolfo having moved up quite a few places there, up to P7 at the moment. Tony Hidela, he's not present tonight, and I think it's almost safe to say that his championship hopes have almost died down to pretty much whatever remains of a fire in terms of ashes. His title hopes have been fading away ever since race 3 or 4 in this season. It's not looking bright for him anymore, and with his absence tonight, it's going to be even more difficult. But you never know. There's still quite a few races to go. Jens Rosen has been moving up the field, but the biggest moving up the field in terms of positions, of course, is Angelo D'Ortenzio, who's come 2nd last race in Hungary, moving up, as you can see, a whopping 26 positions on the driver's standings. You can only see the top 20, and that means he was far down there in about P40 or something. And he has just made a massive jump up, all the way up to P14 from all the way at the bottom of the field. So, looking quite good for him out there. I believe we're about to go, as the green flag has actually just been waved, as I mentioned it. My name is Frostbreath / Rob, aka as usual, aka we're good to go. I'm quite excited. 29 laps, short qualifying, 18 minutes. If I do sound a little tired, it's because I am really tired at the moment, but still good to go for commentary as per usual. But it's safe to say it's been a long day, a long and hard day as well. But still, though, let's see if we can get ourselves through this. If I stutter and struggle for some words here and there, please do forgive me, but it's going to be absolutely fine. Now, while we're loading up the track at the moment, let me real quick close my window, and then we'll probably be able to get going. And while the worst joke ever has just been made in the chat, you might be wondering, why do you want to close your window, Rob? It's for one simple reason. I'm Dutch, and it will be very strange for people to listen in through my big, massive open window and hear me shout in English at a screen. People probably think like, why was that going on over there? Anyway, full track map available to you all, as you can see right here. 3 tricky sectors coming up. Track limits here are quite nasty indeed. So don't be surprised if we see some track limits coming up in the qualifying session and particularly in the race as well. And yes, the Bart Tsunami, it has indeed started. Just barely though. It's only 30 seconds in. So if you still can join during qualifying, you're still quite well in time. Let me swap to the game itself. And let's see how things are going to go. First to exit the pit lane is one of the Williams cars. It's actually Jensen Rosen. Been decently quick in qualifying so far. Let's see if he can keep it up. I just realized by looking at my game I've left path tracing on. So let's hope the game remains stable. This is a good test as well, by the way, to see if it runs here well here in Qatar. Because as you can see, the game looks absolutely beautiful with path tracing on in nighttime scenarios like Qatar. So if things hold on my PC, then you'll be up for quite the show, visual-wise at least. We'll see how the racing is later down the line. But for now, though, looking absolutely stunning. A path tracing stream indeed. I'm spoiling you and myself because I'm quite happy to see that my PC has decided that it can actually do this. I mean, it can easily run it without streaming. And to be fair, streaming, at least according to OBS, isn't that taxing on my PC. I've got it in the second highest setting in OBS in terms of the quality. So it should be quite crisp and sharp for you guys as well. And ever since I've installed my RTX 5080, it's been quite up there. So yeah. Pretty top-end rig. Path tracing, OBS and RLT, yes, all of them are running at the same time at the moment, and it looks like actually RLT is running smoothly tonight. So Anand will be delighted to know he will have some data available, and Jensen Rosen is already pretty much on the limit, heading towards turn 1. Almost 4 wheels off the track on the straight, and you don't see that happening a whole lot. It just shows that drivers are pretty much on top with a little bit of understeer there through turn 2. So not that great of a start yet for Jensen Rosen. It's just a banker lap though. A grip has still to be found here on track. Some extra... Oh, you can see there. Oh, he's actually throwing a lot, I have to say. Usually this is one of those tracks where you run high downforce setups. I'm not sure what Jensen has picked, but so far it seems to be quite the tricky setup to deal with. At least he has kept it within the white lines and pointing in the correct direction. So, so far, so good for the Williams drive. Once again, just drifting through the corner, just throwing the car in there. And yeah, he's definitely pushing on the limit already, despite it being his first outing. 56.2 through the second sector. And this is usually the part where many drivers go a little bit too wide, particularly at the exit of this corner. But he does it quite nicely. In fact, he was almost too much on the inside of the corner. Then going through the final one onto the one and only big straight with the DRS, which is only just before the start finish this time round. 20.0, and I have to say that is quite rapid despite the drifting left, right, and center. As we swap our attention to our championship leader, Simon Lukomsky, 4 pole positions, 0 race wins, frankly, and so far. A successful season, despite not having won anything so far. There's some glitches going on. I can see there on the front of the McLaren some stickers moving around, which shouldn't really be there. It's like we can just look through the car for some reason. A little strange. Not sure if that's because of the path racing, but either way, let's just ignore that and enjoy the beauty of this almost looking like real life here. Chris Bierdzinski, we haven't seen him in a while, slots in 3rd place. It was 2nd for the moment, as Gianluca Nolfo goes faster than him, but nowhere near pole position, as Noah Raza slots into 3rd place. Fun fact I can see in the chat there, somehow Simon would be the 3rd champion with no wins in this league. So it's quite a tradition then in EXA to win a championship without winning a race. And this man might just join those, but I think he would prefer not to. He would prefer not to continue a tradition. He would probably like to win at least one race this season. And let's see if he can get anywhere close in Jensen Rausen. He does. In fact, he goes faster. 20.070. It's not by much, but at least it's enough to overtaking on the timing board for the time being. Conrad Bohm, his teammate, now full-time driver at McLaren since last week, is next across the line. He goes third fastest at 20.1, which is quite decent as well. Valentin Labella P9, just behind Charles Hebreau. As we're swapping our attention to Gabriel Amato. And look at that, you can see right there. I'm not sure if you guys can see it too. The stickers just going through the car, which is supposed to be on the other side of the car. They just somehow glitch through the car in spectator mode to show you like it's some sort of invisibility glitch. It's just one of many glitches. Let's just keep it at that. Ooh, very wide. And lap invalidated by Gabriel Amato. And he's going to have to try again. Then Larry Tolke. He's going through the final corner as well, but he's given in too. Looks like his lap was unsuccessful. Man third in the standings. So far, though, it looks like a two-horse battle between Liam Stevens and Simon Lukomski in the championship. But Liam Stevens now only 5th fastest. But we know he does make up in race pace. Although almost 2 tenths behind is quite the gap on a track like this, as we're watching Alberto Barros in the Red Bull tonight. His teammate Diego Zorzo is currently 4th fastest. No surprises there. Diego, of course, rapid as per usual. And Alberto having invalidated his lap right there. Purple middle sector. And lap gone. Luca Rapasa then. The man who has been hit with a hefty post-race penalty. And to be fair, there were a lot of naughty things happening by the end of the race. And Luca was involved there. And he was actually the only driver reported for one of those incidents, surprisingly. But he's there once again, not giving up. He's trying to claim 3rd place from Larry Tolke. We know Luca to be both a fast qualifier and a fast racer. As indeed, in the chat, we can see there Alberto Barros is having his debut in X1. Let's see where he can go. Look at that. Look at Rapasa, the first driver to go into the 1:19s. 19.966, which is 7/100ths of a second quicker than Jensen Rosen is. Am I saying that correctly? No, it's actually 13/100ths of a second quicker. Apologies. And just over a 10th quicker than Simon Lukomski. So once again, also no surprises were there with Luca Rapasa going fastest of the lot. And look at the beautiful shadows. I mean, the F1 game has got many issues, but graphic-wise, with path racing, it's looking absolutely gorgeous, especially from an onboard view. Look at this. Just have a little bit of a joyous moment here as we're watching the amazing lighting. It's well up there, I have to say. So far then, if you've just tuned in, 11 drivers with a lap time. One driver, I believe, about to join mid-qualification. That one driver has just chatted in the Twitch chat, the Bart Tsunami, hopefully joining soon. He's got just under 10 minutes remaining before qualifying is over. So let's hope he's able to make it in time. 11 drivers with a lap time, the other 7 without. Many of them back out on track once again. Yeah, I think you're actually right. I should probably try to have it on next time, but last time I tried it in another league, my computer went completely haywire. I'm not sure why that was then, but maybe since a patch it has fixed it? Question mark. Let's hope so, because it looks stunning. And you're absolutely treated something. Yeah, I know I keep saying it, but I'm just pretty happy with the fact that it works. Oh, well, thank Bill Gates for me then. Jensen Rausen on his 2nd attempt. We saw him having a bit of unstable moments in his first attempt, but even though those unstable moments happened, he's still up there in P3. So maybe it wasn't that unstable at all. And it just looked like it, and he just was pushing really, really hard. 29 milliseconds down on his own time at the moment. It's a very tiny margin, but he's not faster at the moment. So the middle sector then. Let's see if he can improve a little bit there. No, he's even slower. Losing quite a lot of time, frankly. Is he taking less risk? Has he made some mistakes? Difficult to say. I mean, the tiniest mistake on a track like this can cost you a lot. And then going too wide, and then Jensen's lap is over. So let's see if we can watch somebody else. Noah Raza then in the Ferrari. Has been quite a midfield contender so far. Trying to score some bigger points. This is why I like having Twitch chat open. I like the interactions. Keep things lively. I mean, the racing is great and all. Qualification as well. It's always good to have somebody to interact with. So thank you for sticking around as usual. In case you're wondering, who is Abdur Razak? The man over here, it's Thomas Laminen. And I'm quite happy to see him again. It's been quite a long time since he's been around. I believe he's only done the first and second round so far, from the top of my head. But he's back. Back in business, albeit with another different Steam name. And now in the Ferrari once again. 13th without a lap time. And it seemed like he went too wide there for a second. But the game counted it as just fine. A 20.5 to open up with is... well, it could be better, to be honest. And I think Thomas Laminen can certainly do better. But Larry Tolkien now also crossing the line. Oh, look at that. He's way more up there than last week. Last week he had a hard time. And the week before that as well. With Larry Tolkien now back in business. 20.018. It's a strong result from him so far. Switching back to our debutant. Alberto Barros in the middle sector at the moment. Let's see what he can find up there. It's 57.2. That's quite a lot slower than most of the drivers at the moment so far. So let's hope some more time can be found in the final sector. It's important that he does get this banker lap down. Not only for the fact that he does have a lap time, but at least he's got something to work to. I find it very helpful to have a lap time on the board and try to improve from there. At 21.3 though. It's not brilliant, to be honest. And Conrad Bohm has just gone fastest overall, with Simon Dukomski having crossed the line or just started his hot lap. Either one of those. 20.025. He has actually improved, but he's only 4th fastest now. And one of the, slowly fading away title rivals of Larry Tolkien is ahead. Luca Rapace, so one of the threats to his title as well, finds himself in 2nd still. Liam Stevens, though, it's now down to P9, but he's almost found 0.2 of a second. Meaning it's about to climb to P5, at least. Unless he finds some extra time in the final sector here. As he goes into the main straight. Lots of yellow flags going on everywhere across the line. All the way up to P3. 2.5 tenths exactly quicker. 5 milliseconds ahead of Larry Tolkien. And once again, the two title contenders of Liam and Simon. 3rd and 5th, all the way up there. But look at Rapasa just taking another bite out of the lap time of Conrad Bohm, going fastest again, 19.8. It's clear that this man is on a mission. He's probably not very happy with the post-race penalty from last week, but it is what it is, and he's back with a vengeance, hungry for some big points. Ready to once again fight for the title in an EXA X1 season. And that should prove brilliant. Indeed he is. P4 and Tier 1 in WR is quite impressive. He has to. If he wants to fight for the title, he has to act now. He's quite far behind, over 40 points. So it's crucial that he does get some things done. And this is quite the strong start. At the moment, about 1.5 tons faster than Simon Lukomski. And that is quite big on a track like this. It's not the biggest track. It's got a lot of fast corners. And therefore, margins are meant to be close. In fact, first all the way down to P14 is... he's enthusiastic there. 8 tenths, he's very enthusiastic. It's like he's listening in. He's like, I'll show you some more. I'll show you how ready I am. Back into the pit box he goes. And now the track has quieted down a little bit. Stephen Vaso is retired. Gabor and Oliver Knott, therefore, the only 2 drivers remaining without a proper lap time. And I feel like they can be up there as well. I mean, we do know Gabor Xantos to be very fast. Oliver Knott as well. I mean, there's a reason why they're in X1 after all. 3 minutes and 20 seconds remain. Sooner or later, it will be getting quite busy. In fact, the first car is about to leave. That is Valentino Labella, the only Aston Martin on track. There he is. Looking quite glorious in its fancy green colors. And off he goes. Still waiting on the Bart Tsunami to be invited, I believe. Let's hope Luca sees the message in time in the Discord. And then will be the full 19 drivers that we were expecting, I believe. For a moment I thought it was going to be a full grid, which is quite a thing considering it's the middle of August. And most people are out on vacations and holidays and stuff. I'm not. No, I'm working until early November, by which time I will have my 2-week break. But don't worry, I have a day off tomorrow as well. Which is quite necessary, I can tell you that. Anyway, Labella, first out for the last run. My EA is Frostbreath 111, but I'm not able to invite you because it would disrupt the stream. It looks like Luca Rapasa hasn't received the message. My plans for the holiday? Well, I will be having my brother's cat to stay over while they go to Japan in the late October until like mid-December. So I have a little extra housemate. I have a little house friend, so to say, which I don't mind. But I usually, when I stay home, I just go off for a lot of hikes. Because the Netherlands, surprisingly, has got a lot of places where you can hike quite nicely. I've seen Luca do a 0.7 in quali. Hi Harlem, good to see you. That's a familiar name from the good old MRL days. Let's see then if Luca Rapasa can do and repeat of the 0.7 again. 19.7 of course that is. Valentino Labella now the first to have properly started his final run here in Qatar. It's quite busy on track. Almost everybody's out. Steven Vaso of course having retired. The only one to stay in. And therefore 18 or 17 drivers will be able to set a lap time. Let's hope Gabor and Oliver can do the same thing. They are just proving my point about the track limits. They are indeed very difficult. Labella, though, on his way. First sector, I didn't see the improvement, but according to the game, it was purple, which I doubt. On the other hand, though, he's less than 2/10 behind pole position at the moment. So let's see if Valentino can pull off a big surprise. Yeah, but like hiking in the Netherlands on the lower areas is quite brilliant as well, I have to say. There's a lot of nice national parks out there. Some big surprises. I quite like it. Staying within the white lines though. Valentino Labella, first across the line of everybody. Does he improve? He does not, actually. He's lost some time in the final sector, which is a shame. He stays 7th fastest, therefore. Conrad Bohm next across the line. Can he overtake Luca Rapasa, at least temporarily, for pole position? He does! 5/100ths of a second quicker. Jensen Rosen improving massively as well, all the way out to P3. Then, up next, one of the Mercedes cars. There's Gianluca Nolfo. Where is he going to go? He was quite a lot faster in the middle sector. Goes out to P9. Red Bulls then next across the line. Alberto Barros stays in 15th, but he does improve a lot. That's a lot better than he had. Diego Zorzo stays in P8. A little disappointing for him, I think. Chris Biedzinski hasn't validated. There's an Alpine all the way off the track. Gabriel Amato next across the line then. Does improve to P10 ahead of his teammate. Ferrari next across the line. That is Noah Raza stays in 12th place. Next across the line, I think Larry Tolkien. No, he's a bit further back. The Haas goes there off as well. Gabor Schontels not having set a lap time, which is a shame. Larry Tolkien, what's he doing? That's Luca Rapasa. I'm not sure what's happening here. Was Larry Tolkien in a hot lap? Was Luca in the way? Question mark. There's a lot of things going on at the start-finish line. The Alpine is still not crossed it. It's a little confusing. Luca, though, does not improve. And that means qualifying is gotten a little bit anticlimactic, I have to say, with Conrad Bohm on a surprising pole position. And Simon will be delighted with that. They both picked different liveries, by the way. One of them has gone for the chrome livery. The other one has to stay with the original one. But our championship leader all the way down in P6. And all 3 of his rivals are ahead of him. Larry Toki, Liam Stevens and Luca Rapasa. And of course, with Jensen Rosen on the move in the standings as well, he could potentially become a threat too. But I feel like Conrad Baum might play a very big role in Simon's championship. I doubt Conrad's going to go for the championship himself anymore. He's too far behind at the moment. But this pole position is still a good one, I think, for Simon Dukomski, even though it isn't himself. Maybe he can actually win from P6. It's not impossible, despite a track like this being difficult to overtake on. I think it's definitely doable. Confirmation under the qualifying results with neither Gabor or Oliver setting a lap time and both starting behind Steven, who has retired. Alberto Barros just over a second slower, but it's a lot better than the 21.3 he had earlier on. Charles Hebreau about 8 tenths back. Thomas Laminen, I'd say probably disappointed with the result. His teammate Noah Raza ahead. Both Saubers 10th and 11th. And then we'll see what they can do from there. And now, of course, talks about strategies. Last week in Hungary, it was brilliant. It was a battle between a 1- and 2-stop strategies. And more interestingly, the battle also was between 2nd and 1st in the championship between different strategies. Simon Dukomski had gone for a 2-stop, while Liam Stevens has decided to go for the 1-stop. And it turned out by the end that it was really, really close. It really depended on how well they defended, and Liam Stevens absolutely tried to do everything in his power to defend his lead, which in the end worked out. He won the race, and that, of course, brought him even closer to Simon Dukomski in the standings. 11 points separate the pair at the moment, and once again, they're starting close together, but this time, Liam Stevens is surrounded by McLarens. His rival is behind him. That's the good news. The bad news, Conrad Baum. We've seen him help Simon before, and he can get quite feisty doing so. And Conrad is starting on pole, so he controls the field. Steven Vaso disconnected again, apparently. This guy just can't catch a break with his internet connections and issues. Such a shame. Let's hope he's able to get invited back. Looks like the Tsunami wasn't invited in time. And make sure to tell everybody to tune in. This is going to be a good one. Tony Hitala, I can tell you the pole position was an 18.829 from the top of my head. 19.829, sorry. 19.829 by Conrad Baum. Just ahead of Luca Rapasa, who did an 19.880. There's too many 8s in there, so I get confused there a little bit. So, yeah, quite fast, I have to say. Quite up there. Just waiting for the drivers to pick their strategies. Most likely, everybody will start on the mediums once more. And then swap to the hard tires. A double set of hard tires, I think, later down the line. Especially on a track with a high tire wear here. It's going to be quite the challenge. Hello, Chaz. Welcome to the chat. Good to see you're here around as well. We're just waiting for the race to get started. 18 drivers are going to race. Let's hope Steven Vaso can get back in. After his disconnection at the end of qualifying or in between the sessions. In the meanwhile, qualification on RLT has saved perfectly well. Stream is still butter smooth, I think. And no frames have been missed due to rendering lag. No frames have been skipped due to encoding lag. Which makes me very happy. And confirms we can run the highest settings. But there we go then. The lights are going on. 3, 4, and 5 red lights in the race before the break week has gone underway really, really fast. And let's see who had the best reaction. Jensen Rosen, I think, has got an absolutely fiery start. He's going to try and get past Luca Rapasa in turn 1. He's going to try around the outside, but finds no way past. Larry Toki bumping into the back of Liam Stevens, who's going up into P4 already. Simon Dukomski trying to battle Larry Toki as well, who appears to have a little bit of a difficult start. And now Simon under threat temporarily, at least, from Valentino Labella. There's Liam Stevens trying to get up to the podium place already. Done so successfully. Look at that. He's making the moves really, really rapidly. As we can see, the position swaps happening already over here. Liam Stevens up to P3. Diego Zorzo trying to defend against Gianluca Nolfo, but so far unsuccessful, having to yield against the Mercedes. But he started on the hot tires, frankly. He's one of two only doing so. Steven Vaso's, well, let's hope he's actually driving himself. I think he is, otherwise he would have fallen down already. Has also started on the hard tire. Looks like only 2 drivers disagree with the standard strategy between esports drivers these days to start on the mediums and go for a double set of hards later down the line. Let's see if they're going to dare a one stop. That might have been a warning there already for Conrad Bohm by going a little bit too wide out of the corner. Difficult to keep it in between the white lines, I have to admit. On a track like this with a heavy car full of fuel. But so far, so good for everybody. Few position swaps here and there. Gabor and Oliver Knott already having made up 3 places each. Charles and Alberto having lost 3 places each, respectively. Stephen Vaso bang on in the middle. Hasn't lost anything, hasn't gained anything, but he's seen 2 cars pass by and 2 cars fall back behind him. He's remaining stable in P16. Oh, Chris Bierdzinski. Wow, that's impressive. On the start of lap 2, having a 3-second time penalty already. How's he done that? And he's already on the defensive as well against the Gabor Xontos. He's definitely on the roll. He wants to make more moves. He's now stuck behind a car with a time penalty. Thankfully, all of them still within a DRS train. There goes Thomas Laminen with a strong and decisive move against Gabriel Amato. Up to P11. And now both Ferraris are ahead of both Saubers instead of behind. And up he moves. Let's see if his race pace is better than his qualifying pace. But so far, so good. Conrad Bohm is starting to drive away a little bit from the field, as you can see. He's created a gap of about 0.7 of a second. Liam Stevens is trying to keep close to Luca Rapasa. Simon Akomsky hasn't found a way past anybody yet. But I feel like he's going to play the patience game. So far, he's been one of the cleanest top drivers in X1 in this season. And it's benefited him greatly. I mean, there's a reason why he leads the championship. It's not because he's winning races, but because he keeps his nose clean. And we've got a yellow flag. That's Oliver Knott having fallen out from the train. And these 3 are now struggling to get back in. Here's Charles. Oh my goodness me! That was completely unnecessary. Charles Hebrew tapping Stephen Vaso on the rear. That shouldn't have happened. And now all of these are in a lot of trouble. Conrad on 2 warnings already, I think. Well, let's see if he's gonna change his driving style a little. Because I feel like time penalties are going to come in fast and furious this race. It's like Austria, but a little bit bigger. I wish I could give you an answer there, Elin. Why ads? I've got no clue. It's just what Twitch does, unfortunately. We've got no control over it, especially me. It's just streaming from OBS. Lap 3. Top 2 remains stable. Liam Stevens has overtaken Jensen Rosen. It's crucial for Liam to close the gap to Simon even more. He's now got 2 cars in between himself and Simon. But so far, of course, Simon isn't going to disappear in the distance behind him anytime soon. And Charles is the second one with a 3-second time penalty. As Oliver Knott desperately tries to catch up with the field. Alberto Barros hanging on by the tail end of this really large group. Same goes for Gabriel Amato trying to catch up with Thomas Laminen. And the Ferraris are having a scruffle there. Are they going to keep it clean then? Well, somewhat. They're definitely tapping each other. And Thomas Laminen is not going to be happy, man, after this contact. He's now under threat from the Saubers. Noah Raza has decided to refuse to let his teammate pass. No team orders then, and Noah Raza carries on in P10. Chris Bierdzinski with another 3-second time penalty. If he keeps it up like this, he'll be disqualified by lap 10. This just shows how tricky this track is on track limits. Just keep your nose clean and no harm will come to you, especially on a high level rough racing like this tier. A 3-second time penalty, or even 6 seconds, can hurt you really badly. And everybody knows it. Look at Rapasa trying to stay within DRS range, but he appears to be struggling. Look at that through the corners, he's falling back a lot. Looks like Conrad is pretty fast at the moment. The Rapasa still has DRS, so that's why he is able to keep up for the time being. But it looks like this is Conrad's specialty, this track. And he's keeping them all at bay. Unless, of course, Luca has some tricks up his sleeve. which wouldn't be a surprise. The tire situation is as follows. Everybody in the mediums except Diego Zorzo and Steven Vaso. And credit where credit's due, Oliver Knott has caught back up to the group. He's taken Steven Vaso with him. They've now got another shot. Charles Abro, nowhere to be found anymore after this collision with Steven Vaso. It's probably race over, unless a safety car comes out. Chris and Gabriel having a go at one another. I feel like for the sake of the team, Chris should probably let Gabriel past. So far, it hasn't happened yet. Thomas Lemon has backed off from his teammates a little now that he knows that Noah Raza isn't simply going to open doors for him. Interesting. So then, lap 5 is about to end. Conrad Bohm leads, and it's a long DRS train all the way down to 17th place. But overtakes are definitely being made, which is a rare thing in this game. Look at it, for example. Larry Tolke very close to Jensen Rowson. He's having a little bit of a look, but no way through just yet. Looks like he was just testing the waters against Jensen, who started 3rd, now in 4th. And Larry definitely will benefit from some more points. His rival, the championship leader, is behind. He's already gaining, but it's only a 1 place difference, and that's only a few points in it. I believe it's about 3 or 4 points difference. Yep, I would really like to see who's going to try the big undercut. And I feel like with a tire wear this high in the last game, and now with tires being a big thing this year's game, this is most likely a 2-stop. But so far, it hasn't happened yet. We're now on lap 6. We saw in Hungary at the end of lap 5 already the first pit stops being made for the 2-stop strategy. So far, though, everybody still out there. Well, let's see what they're going to do by the end of this lap. Gianluca Nolfo getting closer and closer to Valentina Labella, as you can see on the timing sheets. Probably too far back, though, to make a move. And everybody is going around for another lap. Will this be a 1-stop then? 11 and 12 will be the pit laps, according to Harlem. Let's find out. 2-stop, not a thing. Interesting. Let's see what they're going to do. Be interesting to see if this track is actually a 1-stop track. Oliver Knott now with a 3-second time penalty. They're coming in fast still. And Oliver struggling to keep up, as is Alberto Barros. I have to say, though, for his debut, he's doing quite well to try and stay there with them. And he's gaining through the corners, at least. Got a yellow flag. Oh, Oliver Knott. I'm not sure what's going on with this man. That's his second spin of the evening. It's a nightmare race for him so far. His car is appearing to be quite a handful. And now he's got damage to the front wing. It might be the end then of Oliver Knott's race. He's got to go back to the pit lane, swap tires and front wing. And if there's no safety car, there's no chance for him to catch up anymore. So I wouldn't be surprised if he throws in the towel by the end of this lap. The end of lap 7 it is. Round they come again. Conrad Bohm has got absolutely no problem keeping them at bay. And it looks like lap 7, the end of it, is not the time to pit either. Or at least, well, for a moment I thought it was going to be for Gabor, but he's given up. He's given up. First retirement, not from Oliver Knott, but instead Gabor Xantos. But it looks like, yep, Oliver Knott is going to do the same thing. Into the pit lane. Press the escape button and retire. There he goes. 2 drivers out then on the same lap, both in the pit lane. 16 remain, and only Charles is out of the points right now. 1 more retirement and he'll be back in the points. And Oliver Knott says, I'll take the race ban, I just can't drive at the moment. That's a shame. I was expecting big things from him. Turns out it wasn't meant to be. And a shout out for Charles for staying. Yep. Indeed. let's see the position swaps again. It looks like the biggest positions being gained by Noah Raza, Thomas Laminen, Stephen Vaso. Oliver Knott and Stephen Vaso, or sorry, Gabor Xontos actually had gained 3 positions each. But for some reason, Gabor has decided to retire as well. I can see why Oliver did it. It just wasn't his race. But why Gabor did it, I do not know. He could have tried to put an undercut, to be honest, but he didn't. Gaps are getting closer here now, though. Gianluca Nolfo is definitely trying to put Valentin Labella under pressure. At the same time, though, he's got to keep his eyes in the rearview mirrors as well, because Diego Zorzo is getting awfully close there all of a sudden. Any mistake will be punished by an overtake from the driver behind. Zorzo's tires do need to kick in soon, and I think they will. They're now all 8 laps old. And look at that, Diego Zorzo is definitely getting his tires turned on. Because he had to back out, there's Noah Raza all of a sudden. This man will be interesting to watch for a little bit. He's the one, alongside Stephen Vaso, to make the moves out of everybody. If he can get a good exit out of the final corner, then Gianluca is the first to fall against his hard tires. Which are still decently okay, I think. And that moment is approaching fast. With the DRS train still very long indeed. But look at this. Yep, he's definitely on a roll. Noah Raza can't keep up. Gianluca Nolfo is desperate to stay ahead. But a good exit is what he needs. And it's not what he gets. I feel like Gianluca now is using a lot of battery. Moving out of the big train, out of the slipstream. And Diego actually loses time on the straight. So he does have perhaps a higher front wing, sorry, a higher downforce setup. Alberto Barros, though, that is interesting. The slowest in qualifying, the first to pit. Can he potentially then play a role in the big undercut? He's coming in at the end of lap 9. And he's going to try it. If he is actually substantially faster than the rest now on these fresh tires, he could potentially become a threat. Because let's see how the gap is from the back of the train to the front. There's only 7 seconds from Gabriel to Conrad. Which isn't big. If he stays out for 3 laps while the rest carries on the mediums, you could potentially suddenly find our debutant Alberto Barros at the front of the field. Which will make the race very interesting. The other drivers, though, probably now knowing it. And they will try and react accordingly. Maybe they'll want to pit a little early than they would have liked. Stephen Vaso now with a 3-second time penalty. That's not helping his charge through the field. And indeed, Conrad Bohm reacts. It's the race leader reacting first to the pit stop of Alberto Barros, fascinatingly. He's coming in for his stop to the hard tires. And will they last until the end? Well, since the mediums have lasted 10 laps, the hards should be able to last twice as long. Charles Hebreau is doing the same thing. For his pit stop. Most likely the one and only. And now we're going to find out if Alberto has gained anything. Actually, he hasn't. I believe he's fallen behind the field a lot already before the pit stops happened. So that undercut, well, it hasn't worked, unfortunately. 9.3 seconds behind the race leader, or soon to be, again, race leader, so to say. And look at that, Jensen Rowson. He's lost connection. He's not able to keep up. It looks like his tires are quite dead. He's not able to keep up. He's losing a lot of time through the sectors now, through the corners, I must say. That is going to be very interesting. 1.3, 1.4 seconds now behind Liam Stevens. We've seen him driving quite aggressively in qualifying. If he's done so in the race as well, I'm not surprised he's suddenly lost a lot of time. Does he pit? Of course he does. No surprises there. Larry Tolkien follows suit. Simon Akomsky, the championship leader as well. Is he going to try and cover his own teammate then? Probably not, because Conrad Bohm was already ahead. But he's going to try and cover anybody else, potentially trying to undercut him. Here he comes, on his way again, behind the Sauber. within an Aston Martin. That's Valentino Labella right there. Still right behind Simon Likomski. And there goes Konrad Baum. Back up to P7. 24 seconds behind the race leader. Now Luca Rapasa. Which strategy is going to reward the most? The undercut or the overcut? In terms of short-term gains, Konrad Baum will have the upper hand. But by the end of the race, will the likes of Luca, Liam, Thomas and Chris have the upper hand? Maybe even Diego. Steven Vaso also, potentially. Now still in his old hard tires. Still going rounds until at least I'd say lap 18. 17 perhaps. Fastest lap on 11 lap old mediums. Indeed. They were saving like crazy and now pushing hard. And Luca goes around again. Same goes for Liam Stevens. Interesting. Once again, the two championship protagonists of Liam Stevens and Simon Likomski have decided to do something different. And that is what I like to see. Chris Biedzinski, the next medium driver to pit for hards. Where will he be compared to his previous position as his teammate does get a 3-second time penalty? Previously, Chris was ahead of Gabriel. You can see the gap in between Gabriel and the Ferrari driver of Noah Raza. Will he slot right in between them again? That's the question. If so, then the undercut isn't as powerful on this track as you would think. And looks like he is. There he goes. Cutting his teammate off quickly and still hanging on behind the Ferrari and ahead of his teammate. Konrad Baum now 23.5 seconds. And some strong observations in the chat. He isn't gaining by too much. Indeed, the undercut appears to be very weak. Luca and Liam can stay out until lap 14 or 15. Antix says. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do so. Let's have a little look at the penalties in the meanwhile. Whew. Noah Raza's not too happy there. You can appeal then for that penalty. Speeding in the pit lane in EXA is only 5 seconds instead of 10. It does save you half the time. And they are working together here now. Two fighting over the title now having allied with one another, so to say. Luca and Liam doing a good job there. Diego isn't able to close the gap despite his hard tires being better at the moment. 3.3 seconds behind. Of course, the DRS working hugely in the favor of Luca and Liam at the moment. They will definitely want to keep that advantage. Now Gianluca Nolfo, the fastest of the lot. Konrad Baum now up to P5. Thomas Laminen has been undercut and quite badly as well. He's been overtaken by Alberto Barros as well now. So only after a tire difference of 4 laps does the undercut work. They might want to keep that in mind. Diego Zorzo, even through the corners, cannot catch up. And that surprises me a little bit, to be honest. He's only gaining marginally, a few hundreds here and there. But it was 3.4 seconds at the start of this lap. It's now down to 3.1. So 3/10 gained on hard tires against mediums, which are just about as old. 13 laps each. Very interesting. And there they go then. Luca Rapasa, Liam Stevens coming in for a pit stop. And this should be fascinating. They're fighting both McLarens. One of them is fighting for the title, and Steven Vaso, for some reason, has retired in the pit lane. Don't tell me that was because of the speeding. Because why on earth would you retire from there? I've got no clue. Diego Zorzo unsurprisingly carries on. Luca Rapasa, Liam Stevens coming back out. Where are they going to be? They have been undercut by Jensen Rausen. Formula Viva said in the chat they want to ensure they don't get undercut by Rausen, and it's exactly what happened to Luca Rapasa. And Liam Stevens, who's also been undercut by Larry Tolke, and now finds himself straight ahead of his nearest rival. Simon Likomski and Liam Stevens are once again back together. Round 16. It's incredible. These two, it's like they've got magnets glued to each other. They can't stay away from one another in the races. And that's what you like to see. They're fighting a championship after all. Right now, once again, it appears Simon is on the back foot. But not as much this time. He's right on it, but the tire difference is now 3 laps. And by the end of the race, it might hurt, depending on how much they've saved their tires. Liam Stevens, though, you can already see him right on the back of Larry Tolkey. The pace difference is already there. But he also finds that Simon is closing in rapidly. This could be an interesting battle coming up. One of the rare overtakes here in Qatar. Simon versus Liam. Round 1 on lap 16 in Qatar. Might as well swap back to the gaps in between them. With only Diego Zorzo still being out on his original starting tires. People already saying Luca has won. Well, I have to say it's anything but a given yet. He still has to overtake both Jensen and Conrad. And we know Conrad to be a feisty defender. And I feel like Jensen doesn't want to let this one slip either. He's got 2nd place in his bag right now. I think he wants more. He wants to win it. But he knows Luca will potentially be faster by the end of it. Conrad's doing a science from Singapore 2023. Well, potentially keeping Jensen within DRS limit. But I feel like, well, Conrad is doing his best. He can't really get away from them too. He was fast in the first stint and nearly created a 1-second gap to Luca Repasa. But now the tire difference is there and Luca is on it. He's definitely on it. But when is he going to make his moves? He's now 2.5 tenths, 3 tenths behind Jensen Rowson. I think that gap is slightly too big. Jensen Rowson, there he goes for the technical race lead. The Williams against the McLaren, and the McLaren nearly turned into the Williams. Had to bail out, and then there's Luca Repasa immediately pouncing on the mistake that Conrad made. Was Conrad caught by surprise then? And look at that, Luca Repasa now all over the back of the McLaren. But there's simply no way past through these corners. You have to be a whole lot faster than them to make it work. Is he going to go around the outside? He does make the move on Conrad Bohm. But Conrad slams the door shut. Luca gets pushed off the track. But I feel like that's fair by Conrad. Luca wasn't too far alongside to make it stick. And Conrad had every right to close the door. And Luca now knows that once again Conrad Bohm isn't going to make it easy for him. Now it's Jensen in the technical race lead, trying to pull away from the McLaren of Conrad Bohm. The gap 6 tenths of a second. In comes Diego Zorzo, and crucially, Luca gets a 3-second time penalty. That's really going to hurt him badly. Yes, he does have the freshest tires, but now he's got this penalty to his name. That is a nightmare. He doesn't want that. It's the last thing he needed. But I feel like one of those warnings might have come from Conrad. From his battle with himself and Conrad. As he goes for a dive in turn 1 and touches. Potentially some damage then to the front wing of Conrad Bohm, who drops back faster now. Larry Tolkey alongside. Luca with another dive bomb. And there's Liam Stevens now trying to get past Larry Tolkey. And he does go by, or does he? No, he can't. Larry Tolkey defends well. He's going to try inside or outside. It's the inside with a humongous dive. And this time he can make it stick. The gloves have come off. And there's Larry Tolkey again because Liam went wide. They nearly lose DRS to Conrad Bohm there for a second. I thought it was too much, but it wasn't, frankly. Where it was quiet and calm, and even a little bit boring in the first stint, I have to say. Now, suddenly, things have changed. And formerly Viva saying, Luca is not looking too chill. Well, no. He's got this 3-second time penalty to his name now. That probably does make him a lot more frustrated. And the dive against Conrad showed it. Probably felt like a bit of payback against what Conrad did, or at least what Luca thinks Conrad did. Because if I'm honest, Conrad was completely in his right to do it. Hard racing once again. Thankfully, not as bad as in Hungary. Nowhere near as bad, to be honest. This is just hard racing. And Luca needs to pull a gap. He's got 3 lap fresher tires than Jensen has. Conrad Boehm's tires are now 8 laps old. He's got Liam Stevens all over him. And he knows this is Simon's nearest rival. And there he goes! Conrad opened the door on the inside. Oh, he spins, nearly spins into the wall. A little bit too much in the power. And Liam Stevens is through. And he's losing DRS on Luca. He has to push like mad now to keep a chance of winning the race. And this is exactly what Luca didn't want. Because Liam is on the same sort of tires as Luca is. Equally fresh. 4 laps old. In the meanwhile, Diego Zorzo has pitted for fresh mediums. And he's already back to this group. How easily is he going to cut through the field? He's got P8 in his hands at the moment. Because Gianluca has got a penalty. Diego needs to keep his tires in between the white lines as long as possible. Is Luca Rapazza going to go for an overtake on Jensen Rosen? No. In fact, Liam Stevens once again on the struggle. Just barely hanging on. He doesn't have a big slipstream like Luca has. And he's going to have to hope that Jensen is going to hold him up for a little bit longer. Otherwise, Luca might disappear in the distance potentially. Pole position, 19.28. Sorry, 82. 19.82. It's difficult to remember numbers, apparently. Diego Zorzo has made his first overtake in the main pack. Up to P8, next target, Valentino Labella. I think he should not have too much difficulty with Valentino either. The tire difference is vast, both in tire age and softness, so to say. Conrad Boehm now on the struggle. He's lost connection to the top 3. Going wide again. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten the time penalty yet. Maybe the game thought that wasn't too much of an advantage then. And Conrad has not been able to close the gap to under 1 second before the detection zone. He has now, but it's too little too late. And he's under threat once again, this time from Larry Toki. But Larry is charging his battery. And there goes Luca Rapazza. Jensen doesn't make a big deal out of it. And this should be Luca's chance to disappear in the distance. 3 seconds are required. Then he wins the race. Simon Lukomski. Well, it looks like once again he isn't going to win a race as championship leader. And he once again sees the gap between himself and his rivals close even further. Because Liam Stevens is in 3rd. And he's about to overtake Jensen Rosen. And then comes the big question. Can he stay with Luca Rapazza? Luca is on a flyer now. He's already gapped Jensen Rosen to over a second. And it is crucial, therefore, for Liam to overtake as soon as possible. Preferably on the next possible opportunity. And that is, of course, and the main straight when they arrive there at the end of this lap. Zorzo now past Labella as well. We're watching the front battle while Diego Zorzo cuts through the field. Now he's right behind the championship leader, Simon Lukomski. Is Simon gonna get even more pain from somebody who isn't fighting for the title? Diego Zorzo is now all over the back of him. We're watching, trying to watch both battles happen, but this is Liam Stevens going for the overtake on Jensen Rosen. He lets him through. Now for watching further back. Simon Lukomski defending the inside. But Diego has got infinitely more grip, so to say. But he hasn't gotten past yet. Simon knows that every point counts now. He wants to stay ahead, but it looks like it's going to be mission impossible because there's Diego Zorzo. Nearly finding his way past around the outside. But he has to back off for another lap. Looks like he's now dealt with the easy targets. Valentino, Gianluca, now he's finding the difficult targets. I mean, Simon is championship leader. Of course he isn't going to yield. And he's praying that Conrad keeps him company. and that he might potentially make Diego's life difficult as well. Hoping that Diego's tires will fall off by the time he reaches Conrad. Liam Stevens desperately trying to catch up with Luca Rapasa. He might potentially use a bit more of his tires than he would like. But he can't catch up. But he will still win the race. Conrad Bohm now with a 3-second time penalty. The pole sitter falling back. I think he does have damage after a Lucas dive. We can't see it visually. But I feel like he's got it. Because he's nowhere near his pace he had at the start of this race and in the first stint and at the start of the first half of the second stint. There goes Larry Tolkey. Conrad's got no choice but to let him through. Or although he does try and get back at him, albeit unsuccessfully. And now he's got his teammate behind. And I think Conrad is of course going to yield. And he's going to try and play obstacle course for Diego Zorzo, who is now, I think, past his prime. He still hasn't found a way past Simon Dukomski. Indeed, Liam could. Liam could indeed take the championship lead. But he's slowly losing ground to Luca. Luca is doing all he can to get that 3-second gap. He's halfway there almost. And I think Conrad should let Simon pass quickly. And preferably slot in between him and Diego. It's going to be difficult though. I think Simon is going to have to overtake him with the DRS. Probably the best strategy. And then he's going to hope that Conrad can keep Diego at bay. Otherwise he's going to be a sitting duck on the next lap. Conrad Bohm, after all, doesn't have DRS against Larry Tolkey anymore. What's going to happen here? What's Conrad going to do? He's certainly going to let his teammate pass, or is he? He isn't! Conrad Bohm is fighting his teammate! He's decided that the championship for his teammate isn't all that important, apparently. And Conrad has decided to go side by side and then yield. He's now defending against Diego Zorzo, still helping out his teammate after all, but it was a lost battle straight away. He's now ghosting. He's gonna go on the offensive. But the grip simply isn't there. As hard as he wants to push. No chance. And Thomas Lemon now retires. And Charles and Alberto will be delighted to know they're now in the points. Zorzo's got a 3-second time penalty. Oh, dearie me. That is going to put a big break to his cutting through the field. The podium is too far away already. They've all escaped. Larry Tolkey is on his own. Jensen Rosen just barely hanging on to Liam Stevens. Liam Stevens struggling to get to Luca, but at least he's still within 3 seconds. Although, he probably knows already that one of Luca's warnings is most likely due to the battling with Conrad Bohm. Oh... And Conrad's day just got a whole lot worse, spinning out of the final corner. And that's his race over. Is that a puncture? No, it's not. That would have been shocking. Although, watching RLT on the top screen, I can see some tires are in quite high wear already. I can't say how much. But I can say they're not too far off puncture territory, depending on how the rest is doing. I can only see 2 drivers' tire percentages. The rest has got telemetry, not public. Liam Stevens is quite safe. He's hoping that Luca has gotten another warning. And Luca is, of course, desperately trying to not get more than 3 warnings. Otherwise, that... even if he can't get that warning he gotten from the battle removed, he will still have 3 seconds to his name. This could be an interesting one, and the winner could be decided post-race. But it's between these two, that's for sure. Luca and Liam. And Liam is now closing in all of a sudden. Has Luca burned up his tires, cutting through the field? That's the question. He might have. We're going to lap 26. It's not over yet, and I think Liam wants to pass him on track just to be safe. It is indeed the safest option to do. Gianluca Nolfo and Noah Raza going for it in the final corner. Who's got DRS? It is Noah Raza going out to P9 now. He'll be delighted with that result, I'm sure. And Conrad Bohm, I'm afraid, is going to be the next retirement. Indeed he is. Or he's going to try and steal the fastest lap. That would be another choice. And I think he's actually going to do that. He's going for a fresh set of mediums. So he's taken the the balanced tire allocation. Let's have a little look at the penalties. Look at that. 12 seconds to Chris Biedzinski. All of them track limits. He's getting awfully close to disqualification now. Noah Raza, 3 track limit penalties and 1 speeding in the pit lane, which makes 19 seconds. So even though he is past Gabriel, he'll fall back all the way down to... Well, actually, Gianluca Nolfo will probably pass them both on penalties alone. Gianluca potentially then finishing P9. The battle for the race lead is still going strong. Liam has lost a little bit of ground on this lap. Is he saving it all for the last one then? Which is going to be risky. Jensen Rausen now has got Larry Tolke for company. Neither having penalties either. But their tires are 3 laps older than the top 2. And Diego Zorzo, while having the freshest tires of the lot, 9-lap-old mediums aren't as brilliant anymore either. He's also got 3 seconds to his name. He'll fall down back to P7, so his work against Simon and Valentino has been for nothing. Unless he can get it removed, of course. I do not know. Looks like Jensen's tires are quite dead. Larry Tolke has gotten a whole lot closer now. And Larry will be delighted to know that he's been able to take away some points from Simon Lukomski, which is still the championship leader. But he's losing points against what is going to be the new championship leader of Liam Stevens. You're getting at least 20 points. And Simon will be getting, is it 10 points in P6? I do not know the amount of points gained per position from the top of my head. I know 20 points is for second place. 8 points in P6. That's what it normally is, yeah. But this is EXA. This is EXA. The points are different, I can tell you that. Here comes Larry Tolke, though, for P3 against Jensen Rosen. Equally old tires. Who's going to come off best? Jensen is defending it, though. He wants the podium, but Larry does want it as well. And Jensen does successfully defend it for now, but he's gotten a poor exit. Larry, though, can't find a way past. Simon will lead by 1 point if Liam is P2. So, yeah, so I was correct then. 10 points for Simon in P6, but he's gotten a 3-second penalty as well. Oh, no. That puts him behind Valentino Labella. That's P7. And that, even if Liam finishes P2 then, I think Liam will become the new championship leader. But it's still a question mark. He's still not within DRS range. Luca has kept it absolutely stable. He's probably confident he can get the warning removed. Or at least that is what it looks like from his racing. 4 in a row is indeed impressive. But I do not know if this victory will stand. Again, Luca is probably going to try and then get his penalty removed as Chris gets another 3-second time penalty, because why not? But he's still going. We're on the final lap now. And Jensen Rosen once again finds Larry Tolke all over the back of him for P3. The final podium plays. Larry's got only this lap to get it done. He needs to force Jensen into a mistake somehow. He gets a perfect exit himself, then it can be done, but it's 1.5 tenths, which is too much for this corner. Too much speed. And he's got to be careful because Diego's still there, and Diego's definitely not going to give up. Where are they going to go? A dive, perhaps? Nearly. He's really forcing Jensen into a mistake. He's pushing him all the way. Look at that. Brilliant racing from these two. But Jensen is holding his ground. And he's doing so quite well. Another opportunity then for here. Larry Tolke, no. No way past. I think that's his opportunity's done for. Luca Rapasa is going to win the race. Liam Stevens will win it, actually, for now. Luca Rapasa around the final corner for the last time. He's crossing the line in first. But he's going to lose it for the time being. Once again, to the man who's now won 4 in a row. Until perhaps the stewards say different. Liam Stevens, 4 races in a row. Simon Lukomski spins out on the line, finishes only P7. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. He might have lost his first place there. He just wasn't there all race. P6 was the best he had. Then he got that 3-second time penalty. What a nightmare. What an absolute nightmare for him. 9 points in P7, 20 for Liam. If it stays like that and Liam falls back to second, they'll be equal on points. 11 points is what Liam closes the gap by. For now, though, Liam is your championship leader. For the provisional results. The incident tap. That's a good idea, actually. I'll do that. Hopefully there's enough time to do so. Just waiting for Konrad Baum to finish the race. And then we'll know, we'll find out how many warnings Luca Rapasa has gotten. Already it's being asked in the chat. We might actually have our answer before we end the stream. That would be nice. Let's see. Let's skip the podium celebrations. Let's have a little look at this one. Driver of the day for Chris Bierdzinski, despite his penalty tally of 15 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Right. Let's have a quick scroll through the results, just to be sure. In case ROT decides to give the ghost. It turns out he hasn't, actually. Let's see. Pits incidents. Let's find as many Luca Rapasas as possible. Exceeding track limits, lap 2. That was not the incident. Further down, let's see if we can find it. Luca Rapasa, lap 11. I think that might have been the one. And then another warning later down the line. Twice. Ooh, that's... No, never mind. That's the third warning there. Getting the 3-second time penalty. 4 warnings. 5 warnings. That's not removable, I'm afraid. He's on 5 warnings. So I think that's safe to say then. It does confirm Liam Stevens as the winner. He's finished on 5 warnings, I can confirm there, as we saw on the incidents tab. And that means officially Liam Stevens not only has won 4 races in a row, but he's also your championship leader, ladies and gentlemen. A switch in the lead has happened at the end of round 7 after Qatar. And I have to say, what a race it was. And Diego Zorzo could have gotten so much more of his strategy. Didn't work out in the end. I think it was a brilliant one though. Starting on the hard, swapping to the mediums on a track like this. Strong choice, just wasn't meant to be. So let's look at those standings before this race happened. You can see there the F11-point gap, which has now been wiped clean. 25 points for Liam Stevens. 9 points for Simon Lukomski. And that is a 16-point difference. So Liam Stevens will lead by 5 points after the points tally has been added properly. And there's that. And then there are still some rounds to come after next week's break. We'll be heading to Texas, Japan, Vegas, Brazil, and Mexico, which should all be brilliant races as well. I can tell you that Vegas is also always a good one. Brazil is always brilliant. Texas might surprise some as well. And Japan perhaps too. You never know. You never know. In a group like this, it's been brilliant all throughout so far. And all I can say now is thank you so much for joining me once again tonight. Turns out my tiredness wasn't an issue after all. So that's great to know, at least. Thank you so much for joining here. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. We'll see you not next week. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Same place, same time. Until then, goodbye.